It smells like popcorn, and I'm just gonna taste a bit of the milk to see if it tastes like popcorn. Yeah, it definitely tastes like popcorn. Hi, I'm Martha and this is Crumb, and today I'm going to be making some ice cream inspired by Chicago mix popcorn. Should I talk about the Pope? Because it's about the Pope. I'm making ice cream today. I never actually sold it, but I'm doing it because I've been having a lot of fun with it this summer. My friend and I have spent a lot of time discussing ice cream flavors. The flavor I want to make today, we kind of thought of when it came out that the Pope was an American Pope from Chicago. So last night I popped like 3 cups worth of popcorn and infused it in 450 grams of milk. Obviously not gonna look delicious, but it smells like popcorn, and I'm just gonna taste a bit of the milk to see if it tastes like popcorn. Yeah, it definitely tastes like popcorn. This is why ice cream is so fun to play with, because all you have to do for a lot of it is just infusing a flavor into the milk, and it's crazy. I want to strain out, obviously, the popcorn into my pot. So I need 375 grams of milk. I'm putting in 150 grams of sugar. To have a bit of a buttery flavor, when you toast milk powder, it kind of creates this browned butter flavor. So I'm just gonna put in, let's say 2 teaspoons to start, to see if we get a buttery flavor. So then I'm just going to be heating up the milk mixture until the sugar dissolves. So while that's warming up, I'm just gonna separate my eggs. For the space, we just need 3 egg yolks. Just mixing up, get them ready for when we pour our hot milk mixture into here. While I'm waiting for things to heat up, I'm just gonna start getting one of my mix-ins going. So this is the mix-in that I'm hoping to be the like cheddar part of the Chicago mix popcorn. Trying to think of like something that will maintain some crunchy texture, because popcorn just sucks up the moisture, so it's just gonna melt and be gross. So this is kind of inspired by Milk Bar's milk crumb that I would always make a lot of one of my jobs when I was in a fine dining restaurant. So I'm going to use corn flakes. So where are my notes from when I made it? Is that an 8 or a 0? 28 grams plain corn flakes, 14 grams of flour, 4 grams of cornstarch, and 20 grams of sugar. And then this is where I'm going to try and do the cheese flavor is from Costco. We're children, so we like KD, but I don't like the noodles anymore. So we just bought this thing of the KD powder. So 9 grams of the KD cheese powder, and then 8 grams of milk powder. We'll keep those out for later. All right. The milk mixture, all the sugar's dissolved. You can tell when you're giving it a stir, and there's a little bit of steam rising up. And like every custard, you're doing the temp, so slowly stirring in a stream of the milk into your egg yolks, slowly so you don't cook your egg yolks. It smells like popcorn. Really strongly, actually. Surprised how strong. It can be dumping in more once you get to the end. All right. And then back into our pot. Just gonna over here. On medium low, very important, don't go high on your temperature while you're doing an anglaise. You don't want it to come to a boil because it will scramble. You have to do this slow. It's a very tedious part of ice cream making. But you see how it's frothy? We're gonna see that that frothiness goes away. And you can go by temperature. I believe if you get to like 180 Fahrenheit, I would rather just do it by the other way of showing it's cooked, where it coats the back of a spoon, and when you drag your finger along, it holds this line. So it's probably going to be a while until we're at that stage, but we'll get back to you when it's at that stage. You're not leaving it alone at all. You're constantly scraping so that the egg doesn't cook to the bottom of the pan. That's super important. So we're gonna get the back of my spoon coated, and we're gonna take our finger, and it holds the line. Always, whenever you do a custard, you wanna strain. Bring it over and into a container that can handle the heat shock. Okay, we need 500 grams, 35% cream. So we'll measure that out into the container I'm gonna have this base cool in. This will also help cool down this anglaise. We're gonna just pour in the anglaise to our cream and just give it a stir. Oh, I'll put in some salt. Good strong pinch is good. And we'll stir it, and then we're gonna taste it with your ice cream base. If it tastes too strong, that isn't necessarily bad, because if something's really cold, the flavor is muted. So you always want your base to be a stronger flavor than you might initially think, so that the flavors, once frozen, come out. So I'm gonna taste this. Oh, crap. Didn't really take in the flavor of that. Okay. Yeah, the flavor of the popcorn is still there. Ideally, overnight is best for your anglaise, but we will just do until cooled. Yeah, so into the fridge, and then we'll make our other additions. Need a better apron. I'm very annoyed. Back to our crunch filling. Just gonna pour in and stir, and then see how much butter I use. Into the corn flake, flour, cornstarch, cheese powder mixture, I put in 38 grams of melted butter, and that's helping to make it kind of this clumpy concoction. And then we'll bake it to kind of like toast it and dry it out at 250 degrees. Think about 20 minutes. I'll put the timer on for. I'm measuring out 60 grams of white chocolate that we're gonna melt. I just use the microwave to melt my white chocolate. Do it in stages. I'm gonna start with 30 seconds, see where that goes, maybe 1 minute. You wanna do it slowly. White chocolate can seize really fast if it's overheated. So it's just really gradual. Okay, I melted the chocolate. I did 30 seconds, then 30 seconds, so a total of 1 minute. So we're gonna have that ready to go when the cornflake mixture is out of the oven. While that is still baking, let's make the caramel that we will be adding as a swirl. So into a pot, 150 grams of sugar, 67 grams of water. Give it a stir. Onto the stove at like medium high. I'm going to do 112.5 grams of cream, a small amount of butter, because if we do too much butter and then it's frozen, it can kind of do this like film building up in your mouth from the cold. I'm gonna say 17 grams of butter. So we have that ready for when our caramel goes. That'll be a bit. Do not stir your sugar while it's cooking because then it'll form crystals. So once you give it that initial stir just to wet in the sugar and you put it on the heat, that's it. We're just gonna be watching it from now on. But if you see sugar crystals, you'll see kind of like white crystals forming on the edge. Just wipe it down with a wet pastry brush. It's 10 more minutes before anything happens. So after 15 minutes, I have the cornflake done. It got golden. I'm going to stream the white chocolate over it and just stir it up to have the white chocolate coat. The white chocolate is kind of going to help protect our crunchy bits staying crunchy. And then I'm going to sprinkle a bit of the Katie powder over top. Okay. All the way. So for our caramel, I want to do a darker caramel. If you see it kind of cooking in one spot, pick it up, do it a stir like this. We're really close. You're gonna be kind of scared that you think you're close to burning it for us to get a good dark caramel. Okay, it's smelling cooked. I'm gonna turn off the heat and then I'm gonna slowly stream in our cream and butter. If you poured it in all at once, it would just be like a bomb. The only thing worse than an oil burn is a sugar burn because it sticks to the skin. So I took the caramel off of the pot and put it into a bowl to help it cool. And we're gonna get that in the fridge along with our cornflake cheese concoction and wait for everything to cool. And then we will be churning our ice cream. I have the Anglaise base. It is cold now, so it's ready to churn. I have stolen my brother's fancy schmancy ice cream maker for the summer and I'm basically holding it hostage until he makes me return it. So you just follow the churning instructions for whatever machine you have. I know this is pretty niche, but we're gonna put it in. There we go. All right, locked in. I think you can find some churner options for $100 that will do just as good of a job as this machine. So I'm gonna set this to start. It's gonna take 30 to 40 minutes to churn, and then we'll add in our additions and get it into the freezer. The ice cream is now at like a soft serve stage texture, which is what we want. We're gonna add in our mix-ins of the cheese flavored mix. So I'm just gonna be putting that into the machine gradually so that it can kind of get mixed. I might leave some out for layering. Yeah, I'll leave the rest out for layering. Oops. Yeah. We want to have our setup ready for when it's done. So I've got my 2 3/4 liter containers ready to scoop in, and then we're gonna get the caramel out. I forgot to add in salt, but I added in salt later, just like a pinch. I'm just gonna stir it up to get it to a good texture for drizzling in. I love this machine. Okay, so you can see it's still quite soft. And I'm gonna just try and do both at the same time. So then I'll drizzle some caramel. This will be messy. If you have one of those nice actual professional machines where it just comes out sideways and you hold a bucket, it's much easier to add in your mix-ins. So I'm just kind of doing ice cream, caramel, ice cream, caramel. You want to move somewhat quickly so that your ice cream doesn't melt and you lose the air that was just churned into it. Because basically what the process is it's freezing and churning, and that's adding air in, so it's kind of whipping it. Add some of the extra cheese, crunchies, caramel, and I think this will be our last layer. Lids on and into the freezer to harden up. So the ice cream has been in the freezer for a couple hours. I definitely recommend eating it once it's had an overnight time to chill, but I'm tired and we both want to go to bed. Yeah, let's give it a taste. Let's get some scoops in there. How's that look? Let's get a scoop that has a little bit of everything in it. All right. It's actually like Chicago mixed popcorn. It's very popcorny. Definitely taste the cheese. It's a bit of a weird experience, but I like it. I think this turned out better than I expected it would, since this was a little experimental. Thank you for watching. Yeah, this was a little bit different than the other two, but I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time, and like and subscribe.